Hey guys, we're back with another episode. I know it's been quite a while, but it was at least a month off because Rohit was in town. So
Yeah.
it was fun to catch up with an old, well, possibly my oldest friend I have right now. We had a lot of time to go out, but not to do the show. But now he's back in the US. I'm in Cal, and there is so much to talk about right now. So first of all, let's start off with Liverpool. I know we'll get to Chelsea later on. But Liverpool, in the past month, there have been a few ups and downs. We've seen them draw against Fulham, draw against Newcastle, yet they still stand at the top of the Premier League table. The teams haven't been able to catch up or close the gap as such. We're still 6 points clear with the game in hand. And the interesting thing is that we're also top of the Champions League. So tonight, when we're recording this, we're going to be playing PSV Eindhoven in our final group game with a chance of going 8 for 8, which would be a record in this Champions League. I know,
Wow.
I know it's just the first Champions League, so obviously it'd be great if we hold the record outright. But there is a bit of a change which I wanted to talk about, and this is something a lot of Liverpool fans did bring up as well. Is that Arne Slot wasn't rotating his side as much as you would expect. So you had people like Virgil van Dijk, Gravenberg. Obviously, Mohamed Salah will play almost every game. But during some of the cup games, you would have expected that a Virgil van Dijk or a Gravenberg would have gotten some rest. But they weren't getting rest. And I think that was starting to show with Gravenberg especially. But the good news is that we have actually taken a lot of senior players off. They're not traveling to Eindhoven. So Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Salah, Alisson Becker, Ibrahima Konate, who's also returning from an injury. I mean, he's still suffering from an injury. Gravenberg, McAllister, and Dominic Soboslai and Luis Diaz are not traveling to Eindhoven, which it gives them a bit
Hmm.
of a break. And it's good because it also allows a lot of the youngsters to go and show what they can do. So I believe Jaden Dance has traveled and a few others have also traveled. So that's actually really, really good for us. And I think it also segues nicely into the next segment that I wanted to talk about is we have a really tough game at the weekend. It's against high-flying Bournemouth. I mean, who would have
Yeah.
thought that at the start of the season? But if you look at their performances, I
Amazing
mean,
story. Mhm.
it's incredible what Iraola has done, right? I mean, if you look at the beat in Newcastle, who were the form side 4-1, then they beat Nottingham Forest, who were the form side 5-0. They've drawn against Chelsea. I think they've beaten United. I think they've also beaten is it Manchester City? Oh yeah, they've beaten Manchester City. They've drawn against Aston Villa. They've beaten even Arsenal. So I mean, I don't think a lot of people expected that from Iraola, but they do have some quality players, and I think it's starting to show with them also because Justin Kluivert has been exceptional for them over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Son of Patrick Kluivert, Barcelona and Netherlands legend. So, Rohit, any thoughts on Bournemouth and Iraola?
I think the other thing to keep in mind about Bournemouth and Iraola is they've had a lot of injuries. So there's, starting center forward, Evanilson, he's out long term, right?
Mhm.
And that hasn't made any difference, right? That just goes to show, the coach has done a stupendous job with the resources available. They are tough to play against. Obviously they are good defensively. They tackle hard, they close you down, but they also play some very good football. Antoine Semenyo has been good as well on top of, Clivert, like you talked about. So I think it's going to be a good game, to be honest with you, to see, how Liverpool respond to this resurgent Bournemouth. And Bournemouth are at level with points with Chelsea. So they're definitely contenders for the top four, top five.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people have said that this Premier League season hasn't been that great because Liverpool were running away with it. But the other teams, I mean, it just goes to show how strong the other teams, the recruitment is, the coaches are
Yes.
because Yalo is doing incredibly well with Bournemouth. We've seen Forest do well under Nuno. And the one
Mhm.
good thing about all this Bournemouth thing is that Richard Hughes is the person responsible for
Yeah.
most of their signings. I'll get into that
Yeah.
right now because we've been talking a lot about, I mean, for the past few weeks, that Liverpool should complete the Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Virgil van Dijk signings. I don't know what's the holdup. I don't know why is it taking so long because we've spoken about this again, time and again, that they are three of the best in the world. Difficult to replace all of them. Just give them what they want, but FSG keep talking about the wage structure, then it's insane that we keep talking about needing to sign a player, because I've been screaming for a left back and a center back. I think for a couple of years now. I think Andy Robertson's great, but he doesn't have the physical attributes to play at the top level anymore. Uh, Costas Tsimikas is good, but again, he's not that great. So that's one issue. And then you have the defender issue because Konate keeps picking up injuries. Gomez has just returned from an injury, and I don't want us really milking Virgil van Dijk out like crazy. So there are these positions that we need to fill, and that hasn't been done yet. I don't know what Richard Hughes has done so far, and it's and the thing that gripes me more is that every year, right, we get these statements from Liverpool that we have record revenue, we've made Anfield larger, there are more hospitality seats. And recently, I think it came out that we are the most watched football team in the world, at least on television, social media, etc. All of that points to more money coming in. Obviously, if you're in the top four in the Premier League right now, we've won every Champions League game. Topping the Champions League also has some financial bonuses. So it's not like we're struggling for cash coming in. It's not like we're a new team that needs to build a fan base. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world. So I don't know where the money goes. And then just to finish my rant off, we've lost players like Joel Matip, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Roberto Firmino, Adrian. Okay, Adrian maybe wasn't a huge earner, but the other three were, and they all left for freeze, right? So what are we doing with that money? Where is that money going? And they keep saying that the wage bills keep on increasing. How can the wage bill increase if you're not signed new players to join the club of that caliber? We have pushed youngsters like Jaden Dance into the first team a little bit. Of course, Harvey Elliott is there. Then you've got this guy, Jarrell Kwanzaa, also doing well. Connor Bradley. And the final thing is that you've replaced Jurgen Klopp's entire coaching team with Arne Slot's team. Now, Arne Slot's a younger manager. He will not be commanding the same money as Klopp. So I really need to know what kind of bookkeeping are these guys doing as to where this money is ending up. Like, what are they doing with this money?
So I totally understand your perspective, right? It must be very frustrating as a fan to not see any signings being made. But my perspective, as you know, is a little different, right? I have this insane admiration for Michael Edwards, who is your CEO, and anything that he does. Because currently, I'm actually reading a book called How to Win the Premier League by Jan Graham, who used to be your head of data analytics, and it gives such amazing insights about how in-depth each decision making is at Liverpool, right? How much work goes behind it. Every transfer, every renewal of contract, every managerial appointment, every single thing gets a lot of attention, right? Right from ensuring that if you're getting somebody from another league, his performances will transfer over to the British league, whether you're overpaying for somebody or not, and it's crazy, right? So I have a lot of faith in whatever these guys are doing. Now I understand, where is all the money going? But my counterpoint to that would be look at Chelsea. Chelsea spent like close to $2 billion, and we have an absolutely, a squad filled with holes, right? A squad filled with so many deficiencies. So it's not always the, a one-to-one correlation between money spent and, the squad strength. And then right now, Liverpool are top of the table in the Premier League and the Champions League, right? So I think that gives them additional arsenal, sorry to use that pun, to basically say, hey, we're doing the right thing. We don't need anybody on, we'll do the right thing eventually. I don't know.
No, so to counter that, I'm not asking us to do Chelsea kind of spending and get three players for each position. That's not on the table, right? Three, five, seven, whatever it is, getting a Mudryk for 100 million and hoping he turns into a two
Oh,
hundred
man.
million player. No, what I'm saying is that there are certain holes in this team that we have not
Mhm.
addressed for years. So, I mean, yeah, last time I think we completely revamped our midfield, getting Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch. But we needed a DM. We got Endo, but we still need a proper DM, you also know that we haven't got. We were supposed to get Caicedo, Lavia. Neither of them came for various reasons. Looking at the left back
But
situation,
Gravenberch is doing better than both Caicedo and Lavia.
no, so I'll come to that also. It's because of Slot.
Mhm.
Now the other thing is also the left back issue I've already touched upon. So I'm not saying that we go crazy, we buy 10 new players every season. It's just that these kind of issues lead to more issues. Now they keep saying that we will only spend once we get the right player for the right price. which is fine, fair to understand. But are you trying to tell me that there isn't one left back in the world who could be better than an Andy Robertson? One left back. If you're really so serious about challenging for titles on a consistent basis, like look at Arsenal, look at City for this season, like in this winter window. They've had issues, they've splashed the cash. Maybe they have overpaid for Marouche and the other players, but they're still being active to ensure that they don't fall behind and they don't go out of the top four. Now look at them. I think they've got 4 wins and a draw in the last five. So that's my only complaint is that we have the money. Surely we have a huge scouting network to say, okay, this is a player, we will splash 50 million. Maybe he won't play for us right now, but in 6 months' time, he will be better than Robertson and we'll start him. That's all I'm saying. I do not want us to go and spend 600 million or whatever it is or something like that and buy 7 players. I think the other point is, of course, Slot being a really, really good manager and a coach. He's a coach foremost, manager second. So we've seen that with his tinkering all the time. Like he continuously makes changes throughout the game. Trent's spoken about it. I think Van Dijk has spoken about it. So credit is due to FSG for this because they got the right man in. I was very skeptical of Slot. I think I had said that a top four finish would be great. He seems set to surpass that. I don't know what will happen in the Champions League. We've only lost, I think, 2 games this entire season, which is insane. One was in the cup and one was against Forest. And he's learned from that. So that's the only positive I see here is that Slot's really, really done a great job with this side. And I think it's just it just hurts that maybe you could have given him a little bit more firepower. A left back, maybe not making the same mistakes that Robertson has done because he has cost us a few goals. Maybe a better striker like Darwin Nunez is obviously struggling. There were talks about him leaving the summer, I think, but we'll
But
see what.
he did score a couple of crucial goals, Darwin Nunez, in the
So,
last game,
so
right? To
Darwin
win.
Nunez is an interesting conundrum. So every time the Liverpool fans, right, they think that he's done, he's finished, he's over. He comes back and does something that really keeps him
Mhm.
going. Like those 2 goals against, I think it was Brentford, right? Last minute 2 goals. He did that against Newcastle, I think last season. 10-man Liverpool beating Newcastle. He did it against, I think Nottingham Forest also. So Darwin Nunez just keeps extending his time at Liverpool with these moments. So a friend of mine called him a 75 million pound Divock Origi. We don't need a 75 million pound Divock
Well,
Origi.
Origi is a Liverpool legend, though.
Yeah, but he didn't come for 75 million. So that's the issue. So we need to see
Uh,
how things go. So
uh-huh.
Liverpool still in a good position. Players are coming back. We're in the deep end of the season. So the thing is that at this exact point of the season, last time around at the club, we had almost the same number of points and the same goal difference, and we were on top of the league. And then things just went crashing down because we were in all 4 competitions. The injuries kept piling up. This is going to be Arne Slot's real test as to how to deal with this fixture pile up, fatigue setting in, possibly. So yeah, we'll find out about Liverpool and more once these 2 games happen. That's PSV and then obviously Bournemouth. And then there are some really interesting ties for Liverpool. I think we play Newcastle. I think we play City. We play Arsenal also. So Liverpool's have. Oh, we're playing Everton also. So Everton's resurgent. They've got David Moyes back, the prodigal son.
Yes,
It's not going to be an
yes.
easy game.
Back to the
So
basics.
back to the basics, and they're doing well. So we
Yeah,
need to
of
see what
course. Yeah.
happens. So interesting times for Liverpool, and hopefully there'll be a lot to celebrate in the coming weeks.